A solidarity march with Israel at Cape Town's Sea Point promenade has turned to chaos. That's after pro-Palestinian supporters decided to confront them. Kevin Brandt is there and he brings us the very latest. Kevin, thanks so much for your time this evening. We did see chaos erupting at Sea Point, where police had to use water cannons to try and disperse the crowd. Maybe just tell us what, from your understanding, could have sparked the clash between the two groups and what the situation is right now.
A very good evening to you, Heidi. Well, at the moment, we're outside the Sea Point police station, where a number of the pro-Palestine supporters are now gathered, and they are trying to interact with the police station management to get, I believe, 3 supporters who've earlier been taken into custody, to get them released from this police station. And I've just heard a gentleman speaking there on a loudspeaker saying that they will remain here until those 3 demonstrators have been released from custody. I believe that there are talks taking place between some of the leaders on the outside and the officials on the ground. I did request a formal communication from the police service here in the Western Cape with regard to this incident, in terms of how many people were arrested and whether or not these demonstrators that have been taken into custody at this police station, whether or not they'll be released tonight. So we do expect some official comment to come from the authorities here in the Western Cape as well. But at the moment, the demonstrators are here, and indication is that they will remain here until the 3 pro-Palestinian protesters have been released from custody. The situation has calmed down drastically from scenes that we've seen play out earlier this afternoon, slightly further up in Beach Road at the Sea Point promenade side. That is where we saw the interaction between, first of all, the police, but also some of the demonstrators there. My understanding is that the police did not want the demonstrators to advance closer to an area where my understanding is that a pro-Israeli demonstration was taking place. But joining me here to talk a bit more and give me his sentiments is Junaid Peters. Junaid, thank you so much for speaking to us. Just in terms of the demonstration taking place here outside Sea Point police station, in terms of what this initiative draws attention to, what is your view?
Our view as pro-Palestinians is just the fact that we stand in solidarity with the Palestinians, as many countries have done with us through our apartheid regime when we faced an apartheid state. So, yeah, that's basically it.
Thank you so much for those sentiments, Junaid. Appreciate it. So, Heidi, that was Junaid Peters. He's one of the many protesters here outside the Sea Point police station, still waiting here, flags being flown, placards being waved in the air, waiting for some official word to come on whether or not those 3 demonstrators will be released from custody. As I said, they've been taken, they've been arrested during the clashes and interaction with the police there on the Sea Point promenade area, where the pro-Palestinian protesters basically kicked out from the area a group of pro-Israeli demonstrators, or march that was set to take place there. We saw the thousands of people that descended on the Cape Town CBD yesterday as they marched from District 6 to Wales Street to hand over a memorandum of demand to the provincial legislature and the leaders of the province to draw attention to, but also saying that they want national government to speak to the issue. But on the ground here, people more speak to the humanitarian issue, the impact on the people in Palestine, and wanting more relief aid to be directed to that region. Also speak to the suffering of the children. They're not really very much concerned with the high-level politics as far as the matter is concerned. Their concern basically boils down to humanitarian issues and wanting a ceasefire so that there can be peace in that region, Heidi, but also wanting the scenario to change for a lot of the survivors and people still living in that area. We've seen how a number of them are now being housed in various hospitals within that region that has also come under attack. And that is also some of the issues that these supporters here have addressed. They are very clued up with the going on in that region, in particular following international media. They've also said who have a presence within that region following scenes that are unfolding there. So these protesters are very clued up in terms of what the exact condition is in that region between Israel and Hamas. But I also spoke to some demonstrators much earlier on this afternoon who shared their view as well with regard to the demonstration, and also calling for attention to be drawn by international leaders to the matter. Just listen to what they told me earlier, Heidi.
Full support for the oppressed Palestinian child. I'm here to protest against Zionists protesting for their right, their God-given right to bomb churches, hospitals and children. I'm here pro-life. I'm here because it's just.
We fight the scourge of violence against the killing of our children, the rapes and killings of our children on the Cape Flats and in our townships every day. And there is never, ever, ever the same presence of the police and law enforcement that we saw here today. We need to address the disparity in the allocation of resources when it comes to the protection of certain sectors of society within the Western Cape. I have never seen the amount of police when there is a gang shooting and a 4-year-old is being shot in the head simply because they were playing outside. I have never seen the amount of police in the Western Cape and on the ground as I have seen here today.
Quite a good point that one of the protesters mentioned, Kevin, that, you know, you're seeing so much police, but when there's gang-related issues, oftentimes you don't see as much police presence. I'm just wondering if you got at all any chance to speak to any pro-Israel protesters. I'm not sure how many were there and if they were even willing to engage with the media.
Heidi, I spoke to some of the organizers of that pro-Israeli event who indicated that as soon as they saw the escalation of potential violence within this area, they've indicated and told their supporters to then vacate this specific area where the pro-Palestinian supporters are still now stationed, and many of them have also celebrated the fact that they were able to, so to speak, kick out the pro-Israeli supporters from this area. So unfortunately I did not get to interact with them myself, but they will definitely throughout the day still share an official view when it comes to their stance on the matter. And I believe that there were a number of organizations that would have taken part, Christian organizations also that would have taken part within that demonstration there as well. But we've seen how basically the issue with regards to the war and the conflict between Israel and Hamas is now being highlighted here, and we've seen on the outside of Sea Point Police Station also how people are waving around placards calling for their brothers to be freed, and with that they mean the three, I believe, demonstrators that have been taken into custody at this police station. But we do expect a more official update from the authorities, and as this is playing out right outside the gates of Sea Point Police Station to my left, you can see that there is a heavy police presence as well as law enforcement presence within this area, which we have seen throughout the course of the afternoon as well. And you mentioned that one of the pro-Palestinian protesters highlighted that fact as well and questioned why there was such a heavy hand when it comes to the number of police officers stationed out here, making mention to the crime and criminality that's playing out in various other Cape Town communities as well, and questioning whether or not the response to that specific regions would have been as quick and effective in that sense had it been taking place elsewhere. Heidi?
Okay, thank you so much for that update, and good work there, Kevin, because I know that you were also being questioned by an individual as to why the media is there and who invited the media. I think you should go and read our constitution because there's media freedom.